This is the Kobo Sage, and this is the Kobo Libra 2. Now, one of these e-readers is one of the best I've ever used. The other needs some work. So let's break down why that is and look at whether these e-readers might be right for you. The Sage and Libra 2 are the latest additions to Kobo's lineup of e-readers. The Kobo Sage retails for $299 Canadian, with the Libra 2 coming in at $219. That's actually a fairly sizable difference, but before we look at the differences between these two devices, let's look at their common features and what they offer over previous Kobo models. This latest generation of Kobo has the best design yet. Even though they're made of plastic, they feel solid in the hand, and the texture design on the back gives it a very premium feel. Both offer an ergonomic curved design similar to the company's old Forma model, as well as a 2-button layout. The recessed power button is also a major improvement over their previous designs because by moving it to the back, it's actually much less likely to be pressed as compared to the ones that were on the top or on the side. Now, both of these models feature HD ink Carta screens, so they're sharp, easy to read, and display images with surprising clarity. I'm going to be talking about why that's important later. And as with their latest models, you'll also get the Comfort Light Pro. This gives you the ability to adjust the built-in light to fit both the brightness and color temperature that's best for you when reading when you don't have an external light. Along with their new design, the devices are both IPX8 certified, so you don't need to worry about, let's say, spilling your water all over it, or reading by the pool, or taking it into the shower. I don't know why you would do that last one. I definitely didn't do it. Another welcome feature is the using USB-C for charging and transfers, and to top it off, they come with 32 gigabytes of storage. On the software side of things, both the Sage and Libra 2 have the latest Kobo updates, and this is where Kobo continues to be the best choice of e-reader for Canadians. You see, with Kobo, you can connect to public libraries through their Overdrive and use multiple file formats. Whereas Kindles only support Amazon's proprietary format, Kobos can read everything from EPUB to PDF and even CBR. This makes Kobo a perfect choice for readers who enjoy sideloading their content or reading books such as comics that don't use Amazon's format. And of course, borrowing copies of books that are free from your local library. Well, unfortunately, Kindle doesn't support borrowing from libraries in Canada, and that makes it a significantly more expensive option in the long run, even if the device is sometimes cheaper up front. And Kobo has recently caught up to the rest of the world with its own subscription service. For just $10 a month, you can get unlimited access to the books in the Plus catalog. The catalog has a wide selection of titles across a bunch of different genres, including many bestsellers. So if you're an avid reader, this is basically a no-brainer. I don't have time to read as much as I'd like, but even at around 4 books per month, with even one of them being available through Plus, this usually pays for itself. Kobo Plus has its downsides, though. Kobo minuses? Anyways, using Kobo Plus is fairly simple. You navigate over to the Discover tab, you can click Plus as a filter, and then you can start browsing the books. Anytime that you want to read one, you just click Read with Kobo Plus, and it's automatically added to your library. The tricky part is knowing which books are going to be part of Plus when you're not just browsing. See, that's not really a problem in and of itself, because you can easily just search up a book to see if it's free. The problem is that sometimes you'll start a series, and then when you hit the second, third, or even fourth book, that won't be part of Plus. See, this happened to me recently. I was reading the final pages and was ready to dive into that next novel that it left on a cliffhanger, and bam, paywall. Look, I'll gladly pay the price of a book, but this just feels a little deceptive. I realize it's probably just a licensing issue, but this happened multiple times over the last month for me. Now, the other big feature that Kobo is pushing with these two models specifically is the inclusion of audiobook support. And I have mixed feelings about it. One of the best features about e-readers is their long lifespan. Being able to go weeks without charging makes it feel much more like a real book. If you're using your Kobo for audiobook listening, you can expect your device to maybe last a single day. On the other hand, Kobo has introduced a subscription service for audiobooks simply called Audiobooks. Now, unlike Plus, where you get unlimited access to the catalog for just $10 a month, you get just one audiobook for $13 a month. Despite how that may sound though, that's actually a pretty good deal. See, each month you can use your audiobook credit on any audiobook on the Kobo store, regardless of its price. If you buy an audiobook individually, it can cost anywhere from $20 to $60. That's a pretty steep tax for readers who require audiobooks for accessibility purposes. And that's why Kobo's audiobook subscription is such a good idea. And best of all, with the Kobo app, you can actually listen to audiobooks on your smartphone. It's a direct competitor for Audible and offering a better price and a much wider selection of audiobooks at that. But that also makes me question who'd want to carry around this e-reader to access their audiobooks. Don't get me wrong, again, it's a nice feature to have, I suppose, but it feels like it's just an extra feature for pricing the e-readers at a higher price point. And now, everything we've gone over so far applies to both devices. So what sets these two models apart, and why would I only recommend one of them when they both have so many great features? Well, let's start by taking a look at the Sage. This is the Sage. It's an attractive e-reader. The seamless screen and thin design make it possibly the best looking e-reader on the market. Add on to that an 8-inch screen and it's an absolute showpiece. But that's on the surface. The truth is the design of the Sage has some inherent problems. Take the screen for example. I love a flush design, and the Sage is a perfect example of just how great it can look. But it's also a prime example of how not to do it. See, the Sage is a fingerprint magnet. Now, fingerprints may just be an annoyance, but the 8-inch display itself actually feels too large for reading books. That's from both a weight perspective and a display perspective. See, most physical novels aren't that big. They're much closer to 6 or 7 inches, I feel. And that's for a reason. When our eyes glance across a page, there's a certain distance that's comfortable for us to travel. At 8 inches, I found that I was occasionally needing to hold the e-reader farther away than I was used to actually reduce that eye strain. If you're like me, you toss your e-reader in a bag just as you would a book. And frankly, I'm not comfortable doing that with the Sage. Despite its solid construction, the thin design feels just a lot less sturdy than other e-readers. Which begs the question, just because we can, should we? And that's the other thing. Despite being so thin, it actually weighs significantly more than the Libra 2 or its 8-inch sibling, the Kobo Forma. Now, with that being said, the Sage actually has several advantages over both the Forma, which sits at the same price point, and the Libra 2 that we have here. The Sage has Dropbox support, which isn't something that I need, but feels like an odd omission from other devices because it's just a software update and not something that needs to be added to the hardware. And the Sage also supports the Kobo Stylus, a feature that's otherwise only available on the Ellipsa. Now, I wasn't able to test out the stylus as it wasn't included with our test units, but for those who might want to take notes, the stylus would be a fantastic addition. Now, the Sage could be a great device, it just feels at odds with itself. Honestly, any drawbacks I've mentioned so far are fairly minor or a matter of preference, but there is one serious issue with the Sage that can't be ignored, and that's the battery. My Sage can barely hold a charge if I'm using it for an entire afternoon. I can actually drain the battery in 1 or 2 sittings, and if I leave it lying around for a week without using it, I'll usually come back to find the battery dead. Now, chances are that I have a faulty unit, but looking online it appears that I'm not the only one. The quality assurance on the device appears to be all over the map. Luckily, that's not an issue for the Libra 2. At $80 less, the Libra 2 has almost all of the same great features in a much more comfortable package. The recessed screen might not have that same initial wow factor, but it's actually the exact same screen in a smaller package. The size is perfect for reading, and when compared to the old Aura, there's still plenty of real estate at 7 inches. And the ergonomics of the Libra 2 are also much better. It's not just the smaller size, but the accentuated curve and thicker design make it much more comfortable in the hand. The recessed design also just feels safer to use. So whether you have a case on it or not, the Libra 2 feels like it's built to last. It depends on what you're looking for in an e-reader, but at $219, the Libra 2 feels like the perfect balance between premium features and price. honestly, it's quickly becoming my favorite e-reader I've ever used. Now, with all of that said, there is one use case where the Sage wins: reading graphic novels and manga. If you love graphic novels, reading on an e-reader is a great experience. And, the Libra 2 is amazing, but the extra screen real estate on the Sage is a dream when it comes to this. Being able to flip between a 2-page spread in horizontal mode and then look at all of the detail of a single page in vertical mode is incredible. And I can't genuinely cannot go back to reading on my phone or a heavy tablet when I'm doing long reading sessions. And Kobo Plus actually features a huge selection of manga, including popular works such as Attack on Titan, To Your Eternity, and my personal favorite, A Silent Voice. A single volume of these works can easily go for $10, so being able to read through an entire series for just $10 a month feels like a steal. Now, quickly before I end this, I also wanted to shout out a few great features that Kobo has included with both the Sage and the Libra 2 that have really impressed me. Dark mode is a great feature for reading at night, and it's a feature that I didn't actually know was possible on an e-ink screen. And of course, the text and font tools continue to lead the market with their customization, making it easy to quickly adjust the spacing, sizing, and layout of books on the fly. And of course, my personal favorite, the reading stats. These are something that keep me invested in completing my library. These are the real-world RPG level ups that I have always wanted. If only I'd stopped buying books to add to my library. These are the latest models of Kobo, and I have loved my time reviewing them. So if there are other devices that you'd like to see us review at MobileSyrup, let us know down in the comments below. For all the latest news and reviews in the world of Canadian tech and gaming, be sure to check out MobileSyrup.com as well as hit that like and subscribe button. I'm Chris with MobileSyrup. Thanks for watching.